We can like find the answers, but it does feel like even from the picks alone of Virtus.Pro have like really done some soul searching to work out exactly where they went wrong. Yoinkanda, not to say that they don't understand what or even looked into it too much, they're just not really that fussed about the cloak and dagger.
Well, the Wolverine can, just in the same vein as you use Feral Grab to just get out of the spawn before swapping on over to the Mantis. Virtus.Pro, in the meantime, utilizing Finzy's Doctor Strange portal, not just to set up an insta into the fight, but also scatter the comp they're against.
Fi's already found the pick onto Snaze. Triple support lineup for Sparkers, just the crazy amount of damage Soulbound used pretty early in the fight as Yoinkanda really not looking to make this fight any longer themselves. It's an awkward disengage, just picking apart Captain America, Psylocke just trying to get out of dodge, but Etsu, at least Plax has found the opening there, just as I say it, that 5v6 turns into a 4v3. Clearing out things very easily for Yoinkanda, who haven't really
had... committed. Virtus.Pro have so many tools of dealing with it. Soulbond from the Adams, Sleep from Saipei, just even a heal boost coming on through from Dredro. Etso is finally able to take down the Atom, but Spark is going to be able to self-revive, and Fi coming on through with the Blaster Barrage is going to be able to just collapse onto Yoinkanda stacked up players. Sedation comes on out. Snaze with the Psionic Seduction, trying to fight any space that they can for Yoinkanda to get onto this point, but it is for as Sparker back in the mix without revisiting spawn room is just absolutely dispatching player after player.
Very straightforward fight for Virtus.Pro so far. You know what I'm going to say. We all know what happened. I've gone over it enough. Like, is it looking that bad that they could completely drop out at this stage in the tournament? Yoinkanda's a good team.
But motivation now to try and actually really improve and lean into this new meta that's been established. Strange Teleport comes on out. Virtus.Pro able to shut down Galactic Legend. It's all going to be off of heals coming in through from Priest and Charge, but that's not going to be enough. Monk Mother on that torch is outside of the Captain America's AoE, and Virtus.Pro have already found the first pick.
Really good spot from Fi to sort of see that whilst the Freedom Charge was coming in, the Monk Brother was a little bit isolated on his own, churned down in the fight. And whilst it was looking like Yoinkanda might be able to jump on there first, they're even dedicating ultimates to this still, so hold that thought. Yoinkanda might be able to keep a hold of this one. There's no point in progression being made as of yet. It's still just fighting for this spot. Down to the butterfly from Etsu on very low HP. Mostly maybe used to just keep himself alive in this state. The Eye of Agamotto comes in, connects onto Free. The elimination follows from Nevix. This Vanguard duo has been played together so long, they might as well read each other's minds.
There comes the Sleep from Saipei, and Yoinkanda just don't have the confidence. Virtus.Pro are the ones to start the fight instead.
And this Eternal Bond is almost pure ego and hubris coming out of Dredro. He has the freedom to do it. There's not going to be one on the other side. And for Virtus.Pro, they're looking comfortable. They're looking back into the form that we expect them to be in. And for now, yes, Sparker can sit on his counter revival all he wants. Nevix, the Meteor M, has just sat nicely in 5
minutes. To be there, Saipei should be able to get the Soul Resurgence online as Yoinkanda go on through aggressively, but the peel is just immense. Bulwark, Meteor M, everything layers on top. But even with the Galactic Legend, and still Yoinkanda have not been able to find the picks. It's Sparker instead who takes down the Anna even through the Invis boundary. Out comes Eye of Agamotto. Finzy's been able to collapse onto so many of their players, stacks them up for fight and knock them down with the Blaster Barrage, and they're going to counter TP Yoinkanda's recontest touch. As if Snaze goes for the portal, he's going to get taken by Finzy.
Well, that might take some of the focus away, but they're going to be able to dive in and take this fight. Perfect Yarn Amplifier put onto the objective, which means the fight can pretty much take it straight back out. Finzy finds the burst onto Etsu. The comfort is there, and the elimination still all in blue. Virtus.Pro looking very clean so far. The portal just diminishing. The fight's holding on for dear life as the Eternal Bond from Dredro is just going to keep everybody up, pushing everybody from Yoinkanda back. And a complete hold, 2-0 over on this first map for Virtus.Pro, and zero progression made at all.
The Cloak and Dagger, the secret is out, and Virtus.Pro are making full advantage of it. 13-0-19 read Dridro's statistics. 19,080 healing done. Find an isolated target and grab them into Yoinkanda, be it the Psylocke, the Captain America, the Wolverine. It all fell to pieces between the poke that came out from the Atom, the sleep CC that comes out from the Mantis, the Soul Bond so that no damage really bursts down the flyers. Fi has to be careful that we don't get blitzed down by a Terror Cape, but instead it's Virtus.Pro who are coming through with the picks as Blacks hops through that teleporter to just fully reposition into the fight, maybe cut Virtus.Pro's attention, force resources into chasing down the Captain America for the rest of his team to get value, but Sparker now has been taken down to the bait of chasing the Cap.
I mean, it was the only elimination so far I think that Virtus.Pro been able to take, but obviously the resurrection for Sparker means that he's going to be back into the fight fairly early on. Hasn't really been that many. You can count on one hand the eliminations at Yoinkanda, maybe even two now as Etsu's managed to double up, but it's again onto a Guardian. The team up means that these people are back into the fight for the most part. Eternal Bond is going to make things a little bit more precarious for Yoinkanda as they're trying to get past this corner, but Monkmutter moving over to the Human Torch, gets onto the Supernova first. Psionic Seduction trying to find some of these moments yet again, but Virtus.Pro are just so good on this map. We've seen so little of it, but they're so good at just being irritating. Even if they lose this fight, they're going to buy so much time, Moxie.
Yeah, Sparker said Soul Bond. Monkmutter has the Supernova after Dridro's Eternal Bond had expired. They were a little bit late to trying to use it to save Saipe, but Soul Bond just means that everyone from VP is stacked, survives the Torch Ultimate. Nevix now gets to answer back with the Psionic Seduction. He does get Carbon Crushed by Snakes, but that just means that the Emma's position is static, and Sparker takes the Vanguard down. You would be first place and still have the pick potential with the Maelstrom of Madness as Spinzy dives into the back line, sees Vertigo going lower and lower.
He wants that kill so bad.
Going for the pick, but overcommits and Monkmutter punishes.
He just wanted that pick so bad that he was willing to overextend a little bit, and that might have bit off more than Virtus.Pro can chew. Black's able to get a couple of these eliminations together, but it's pretty much what Virtus.Pro have been consistently strong. This objective has been able to go behind. Virtus.Pro looking to contest this a little bit. Soul Resurgence from Saipe ready to go to add a little bit more damage onto this side, and with the Terror Cape, you know how this is going. The drop down with the Eye of Agamotto, able to actually catch onto Vertigo, who just manages to get their own Soul Resurgence out just in the nick of time. You've got all of the tornadoes and the supernova flying down from Monkmutter resurrected, so it's actually looking like Yoinkanda are going to be able to push this one over the line.
Yeah, Black's out coming on through with the hero of the moment, Freedom Charge, charging Yoinkanda's A point and letting them push into B now. But this time bank, it's miserable for this attacker's side. They've still got the protection from Virtus.Pro was almost immediate. Saipe picks the Psylocke out. Dridro aggressively sends the Eternal Bond so that Virtus.Pro can go for more, limit the space that Yoinkanda have open to them for this next push. And now Virtus.Pro can establish themselves on these angles, make themselves so hard to be able to oust that Yoinkanda are going to have to overcommit, overextend into their space.
A lot of ultimates been sat on for Virtus.Pro. Psionic Seduction is going to be the first used, and pulling the Human Torch that's right in the air, just a sitting duck to be cleared out in hand. Etsu caught by Nevix. The Carbon Crush is going to maintain control for this defensive side.
Eternal Bond having used it in the fight prior. Yoinkanda have an Eternal Bond of their own. Etsu had the Dance of the Butterflies, but no! The dance floor is shut down immediately by the Torch. Fi picks Vertigo too before Soul Resurgence can come on through. They're all stuck in one small space. Monkmutter with the Supernova trying to find anything, but Fi's flames burn brighter, burn hotter. And unfortunately for Yoinkanda, they're not able to handle the heat. They're falling apart time and time again.
It's the same adjustment too. Like, I really like the macro, the foundations, just really shut down Etsu from going in for that dive. Like you mentioned, Moxie, that Dance of the Butterflies is available. Grouping up against it is going to be important. Supernova going to be used on Virtus.Pro's side as overtime is going to be triggered. Soul Resurgence and the Dance of the Butterfly lapping over each other, but the elimination's not quite cutting in. This Dridro has farmed up yet another Eternal Bond. Psionic Seduction a little bit late to shut down some of these ultimates that Virtus.Pro been thrown in, but it's looking a little bit like the last point in that Yoinkanda leaving it to right to the end, able to have enough sustenance to survive a little bit longer, but they have to push this point up these two slopes all the way to the second point. they're able to sort of do it to an extent as Virtus.Pro are forced to back out, but they're leaving it so late on the clock.
And they don't have the ultimates. Yoinkanda is going to have to build the supernova in super time. Virtus.Pro, Fi's going back onto the Star-Lord so he can recontest in faster, as well as having the iframes on the Stellar Shift. You can get aggressively on top of the backline of Yoinkanda too with the Barrage, Terror Cape into Star-Lord follow through, and Fi is absolutely unstoppable. Yoinkanda, it cost them everything in the fight before, and Virtus.Pro just sit on the comic revival.
Don't music scores too.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to listen to those properly. I like the opening to Yggdrasil's Path. Just the guitar, the grunginess of it. It feels for Yoinkanda they need to really pull out
value it had. It's going to buy so much space too. Yoinkanda are going to have to back all the way up when they see that Star-Lord getting a little bit too close to speak.
If you haven't watched Virtus.Pro play on this map so far, it's just how many times we see that triple arrow at the top of the payload. And basically to Rio to don't be rash, Virtus.Pro is still back.
Yeah, Pyro Prison expires from Yoinkanda. Virtus.Pro move in aggressively with a Soul Bond. Dreadrow is going to be able to top it off with an Eternal Bond as well into a Terror Cape, and it catches so many plays from Yoinkanda. He uses the Eternal Bond to get past the shields, which would have blocked the damage vulnerability. Etsu has no choice but to go for the Dance of the Butterflies, trying to shut down any aggressive plays that Virtus.Pro were looking to find. Soul Resurgence though from Saipan, all of the bodies being stacked too close to the Silex. She's going to deny any pick, and meanwhile Finzi, the more players that are stacked for the Strange, the more players that will fall to the Maelstrom that comes afterwards.
It just feels inevitable. That whole like lever of we're so back, it's so over, it's now we're so back.
Into the mix, Virtus.Pro going to have to make sure that they shut that follow-up down. Nevix with the Psionic Seduction silences anyone from Yoinkanda who thought that they could find a vulnerability in Virtus.Pro's backline. Fi with the Galactic Legend also make sure that Snaze's own Psionic Seduction doesn't find any inroad to Virtus.Pro's backline. And still, like you mentioned, bodies on the payload. Objective continues to move while Virtus.Pro continue to move their players forward, taking away the space, eroding the positions that Yoinkanda could play to slow their approach down.
Pretty much down Etsu, it's this almost like peel of just being aggressive, able to chase up people that don't want to be chased. And now this objective is pretty much right at the end of its tether with 3 minutes for Yoinkanda to hold. Losing stays is a little bit rough. There's going to be a contest. There has to be. The Dance of the Butterfly not able to beat that, of course, but with everybody grouped up, the damage is just negligible, not noticeable. Soul Resurgence is just going to flip things back, and Monk Mother, the Supernova feels like it's just a light heat wave more than anything. You've got the Eternal Bond holding on for Yoinkanda, but they're still losing players. Etsu's down again. Black's CC'd out, surviving, trying to disengage over onto Fi, and Virtus.Pro not playing with their food, but being very selective with where they're taking these fights exactly. It's only 8 meters to push things on, and Etsu at least taking out one of the backline supports of Sci-Fi. It's going to keep things alive, but it's still 2.5 minutes, Moxie.
Navix is going to fall. Sparkle of the Karmic Revival more than happy to invest that ultimate and brings back both the Mantis and the Eye and stabilize around this corner. Eternal Bond from Dreadrow that's going to lead into another aggressive Terror Cape, potentially behind the entire team to catch. They try and Terror Cape back, but Fi gets phased by the Dark Teleportation coming on through, and Nevix with the Psionic Seduction sets everything up for Fi. Soul Bomb just to top it all off. There's nothing Yoinkanda can do. Virtus.Pro sweep the series 2-0. The top dogs are back.
Yoinkanda, however, unfortunately not participating any further in stage 1. It's probably an omen, I suppose, of what exactly was Virtus.Pro's problem and what exactly they fixed up.
I need to see the stats of the assists. Yeah, there it is, 36. So to put this into perspective, Dreadrow had more assists than a Mantis.